Dead. My battery's dead.
One treasure I'm trying to capture on Assassin's Creed. I have no idea how
What
to get to
happened,
it.
Haps? You're right over there, cuz.
Oh, did you see it drop?
Yeah, cuz.
We just heard you screech.
Like man's
In it, like you
outside,
proper screamed. I was like, "Rotted, what that?"
Man said scream. Man's a man, you know. Man,
You scream still.
yo, no
You proper scream. I heard like a high
screamed, you know.
I heard a high pitched scream. I was like, "Rotted."
That's kind of high pitched still.
Hey, you know, a jiddle, you know.
What up, world? It's man like Kid LJ. Welcome to Games Room. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the co-hosts. We got Raymo.
What's going on, man? Let's get into this. No games.
Nice. We got JJ.
What's going on, people?
And last but not least, we got Hypes.
Lessons.
Cool. Topic of today is to do with the Switch. So at this current moment, we have the hybrid version, which was the actual release. The benchmark console with the fact that you could put it portable and connect it to the television. We also have the light version, which is just 100% portable. But what are your views? Do you think Nintendo will then make a standard like a home console, like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, where it would probably deliver 4K resolution and high frame rates?
I feel like it will defeat the whole purpose of the Switch, personally, me. But at the same time, it defeating the whole purpose of the Switch might not be a bad thing, because now they can compete in terms of sales, and they can also be talk of the town as well, because people are comparing, it's only been an Xbox versus PlayStation comparison, going back to the days where it was PlayStation, Xbox, and GameCube. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would be nice to have that sort of diversity, and hopefully again they can go back to making different games for 3 different consoles. You know what I mean? So there's more stuff out there. And just, so I feel like that would be a good thing for the Switch.
Literally, what you said there made so much sense, because the fact that you said Switch, that's what the console was actually designed to do, was being able to switch from portable to being as a home console. And now we're just basically making a section of the Nintendo Switch quite redundant, where there's no portability towards it. So
you could argue that they've already done that with the Switch Lite, though, because you can't plug the light into the TV. So that's not a Switch. Arguably, they've already defeated their purpose with the Switch Lite, because it's strictly portable.
Yeah, you're right. So with the dock, you can't put a Switch Lite in the dock.
Can't put a Switch Lite in the dock at all. Strictly portable.
Okay.
So, but it's still called a Nintendo Switch. Do you get me? So, just touching on what JJ said in terms of them becoming or them entering a race. I mean, this kind of will touch on another topic that we will talk about maybe later on today or maybe another time. But I'd say they're still very much. Switch was already in this generation before Sony and Microsoft were. So Sony and Microsoft just entered the next gen. The Switch was already in this generation and that generation already. And they very much have already staked their claim. Because if you look at the numbers that they're doing compared to these other consoles, it's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think Sony or Microsoft are even very much competition for Nintendo right now, believe it or not. They're actually nowhere near competition for Nintendo right now if we're talking numbers, and it might just be due to production and supply constraints. But either way, the numbers that Nintendo are doing are actually ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah, the numbers are crazy.
They're ridiculous. So I do think that they might, because I think that they're trying to work on a family of consoles. So we've got the in-between, we've got the hybrid, we've got the Switch, which can be docked or it can be used portably. We've already got the Switch Lite, which is strictly portable. So I think that they're going to go to the other side now and do another Nintendo Switch, which is strictly a console. that way they can work on getting that 4K, maybe 60. I don't know what they're going for, but I think it will be easier for them to do so. If they don't do that, maybe they're just going to work on a much more powerful dock.
Okay.
To reach those levels.
Yeah.
But so those are the two things that I've got in my mind. But in answer to the question though, I personally do think that they might try and go for that. Could be wrong, who knows? But I do think they might go for a strictly home console version, just because, like I said, they've got the hybrid in the middle. They've already got the Switch Lite. I think they're gonna go on the other side and just have a strictly home one. That way, we've got a family of Nintendo consoles that they can push out and market to the world.
Okay.
Well, my take kind of on the question, or what I think. I personally don't think they're going to head in that direction, not just because it's a tough place to crack into or whatever, but they might see it as right now they're the crowns of handheld devices to an extent. I'm gonna elaborate in a sec, but they're like
they are. There's no there's no one else that's handheld.
Yeah, like they're mainly Switch. Take it wherever you want. It's the same old school Game Boy. You take it with it. What some people try to argue that the only people that can compete with them in terms of handheld devices is now Xbox is expanding with Game Pass and stuff like that and cloud gaming. But that aside, that's what I think they might start doing, because there's some phones now that hit true 4K and stuff like that. The phones are expensive. So if they have that technology, they might just work on getting better resolutions and higher screens and stuff like that on smaller devices, whether then heading in this has got to be here.
Compete, though. The reason why that can't compete is because you always need an internet connection to play that. You don't need that on the Switch.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say. So they might head in the whole internet way, but I can't see them making a console where it just has to be hand-based, because what they're known or renowned for, if we say, is hand. Like, you think of it, you can take it anywhere. It's one of their sort of catchphrase. It's a selling point, if you like. Yeah, you can take it wherever you want. You don't have to sit at home. You're on a bus, on the way to work, on the way to school. I feel like there's so much reasons for why they're headed in the direction they've been heading in, creating a family, but they all revolve around being able to maneuver while being able to play the game and go about your daily life or business. I don't really think they would do the other direction, because it takes away. Personally, for me, like what I think.
I hear you, I understand that. The reason why I also think that they might is because with obviously the Switch that they already do have, they can't compete in terms of power with PlayStation and Xbox at all. So what I think, they might make a home console, because they've already got the hybrid, which is already their own thing, and they've already got the Lite, which is already their own thing. Now, the only place where they're not competing with these other companies is with power and having a console. That's the last thing that they really need to do.
Now, I was gonna say, in terms of what we were saying, like, to have games like Mario and Zelda, are they gonna be on a level big enough on what Nintendo offers to compete with games like, for example, like Ghost, like Horizon, like God of War, like Halo, like what Xbox has to deliver?
When you say on a level, you're talking about in terms of graphical performance and stuff?
Yeah.
No, in terms of like sales. In terms of sales, like
they sell on the same level as those games anyway. Trust me.
They're doing really good numbers when it comes to, like, well, you know, the Nintendo mascots.
Bro, the highest selling game of this year was Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Of the whole year. So Nintendo, they're in a lane of their own with their own IP. So they
what? Sorry, just to add to it as well, with Nintendo, before they even think of having a console where it just has to be at home, they do need to sort out the party and settings thing, because if you're at home, naturally you're gonna has to get sorted. I would say
that's a whole nother story.
No,
but I understand what you're saying. But I understand that, but that's what I'm saying. But they already have a home console with the normal Switch anyway, and those are problems that we're already facing. Just doing normal things like starting a party. Even how many years? We're nearly 4 years into having a Switch, and we still can't I still have to use my phone to go into a party chat, which is stupid. But I think those are just Nintendo problems. I don't think they ever want to change that.
I got a question that follows on from that. If that was the case, and this the people of Nintendo, they decide to make a home console, do you think that they're gonna have to change the way how they have their game cartridges? Will they have to make them a disc? Will they have to? What do you think? Do you think they'll be like very similar?
They probably would, because I know that they're having difficulty with even fitting games on the cartridges already.
Yeah.
To the point where they're having to make bigger cartridges, which is costing them more money to do, which is making them even have second stuff. Exactly. Yeah. So you have to download stuff from the cartridge and still download stuff from online.
Yeah.
Which is, I know, causing problems. So
they might
I don't know. That's a good question, though. That's a good question.
Because
those are the sort of things.
What might happen is that they'll have like say for instance, the Nintendo home console would be a 4K type of console. Then they would have to have maybe a 4K disc version, and that means that if you have the hybrid and the home console, you have to buy 2 of the same games to play it, or maybe have a digital download where you can play it on both or something like that.
Digital download.
It's
definitely I think for them, not for them, it's definitely easier for them to follow on from what Ray said. It's definitely easier for them to produce 4K gaming and stuff on a handheld device, a smaller device than docked at home. The only reason I'll say
that's a lot you got to put into
hold on, real quick. The only reason why a lot of people, obviously, it's all we're still just. It would be nice if they did have it. Don't get me wrong, but only reason why a lot of people have kind of said, "Bro, gaming consoles or whatever," is because it's here and now, and we know, and it's been proven. But even when you think back to when they first started to try to say the 4K, how many, like, a lot of it was lies. It's the same thing, like, going back. So, like, it comes out, and then later on you find out this is the true and the real version. Where they've been specialized on this thing.
Checkerboard rendering and upscaling and all that stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, it would be a very difficult
how easy is it to do that, though? Because, like I said, there's even some gaming laptops that aren't even 4K. Even like the one I was looking to buy the other day is only 1080p.
What I was going to say, though, one of the things I was trying to say, when Ray was talking about next generation with the Switch, I mean, yeah, it's a merely upgrade. Isn't docking the Switch, even though with a new resolution, kind of, in a way, a mid-next generation console? Because, yeah, it's the same console, but what you're doing is you're upgrading it. So say, like, the PS4 does exactly what the PS5 does, but the PS5 is a better, high-resolution, faster frame rate. So if they do the same thing with the Switch, but dock it, isn't that a next-generation Switch? So that's basically the Switch in a new generation.
Would you say that about the PS4 and the PS4 Pro?
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a Pro console then.
Yeah. Would you say that about the Xbox One and the Xbox One X?
No, because
it's a mid-generation upgrade, isn't it?
The only thing with those two is they never went from, like, if you went from PSP to PS4, then I would say that's another generation console, because the PSP and the PlayStation 4 are 2 different genres of consoles. You've got one that's handheld and you've got one that's docked. If you then dock the Switch, you've taken away that handheld device. It's no longer part of the handheld category. It's now part of a console category, which is docked. So now you've improved the frame rate. You've improved the frame rate, improved the high resolution. You've now made it a faster and better console that can play games. Because then again, some games you might get on the handheld Switch might not actually play on the dock console. Like, you can't play PSP games on the PS5. So wouldn't you kind of say that technically is more of a next generation than going from a Xbox
Believe
One
it or
to
not,
One X?
just to stop you at that point, you can play PSP games on the PS5. Believe it or not, there's some PSP games on PS Now. Believe it or not, there's 2 God of War games on there that was strictly PSP games. Believe it or not. But yeah,
I meant like the physical disc, actual physical PSP.
You got a good argument there, JJ. But when you're comparing the PSP to the Switch, I think you should be more inclined to compare it to the 3DS in that sense. And now the 3DS is now, like, I don't know if they've discontinued sales at this moment, but you know, it's the Switch is taken over the
That's basically what the Switch Lite is, I think.
Yeah. I feel like the Switch has taken over the home console and the portable console in one. So they've got, this is basically their base now. They don't have a handheld team, and they don't have a home console team, because obviously the Wii U was the last home console that they had, and then they had the Switch. I think they've merged them all in one, and now they've kind of like, they're focusing on that. So
it's still a good point you said, and which brings me back to
very good.
Another thing that I thought before, which I said they might just make the dock more powerful. Then.
All right, quick question, because we're dancing around. So to everyone, the first thing, just to finalize, can you see them making one, and also would you want to personally see it?
Personally, yeah, because I feel like the competition will create amazing stuff, and I would like to see what they end up developing as well. And it might actually make people, you know.
I don't know if they'll do a home. I think I would say that they're going to make a Switch Pro, whether that be strictly home or whether that they just max out the current hybrid that they have. One of the two. But for now, to be honest, I'd like to see just a home Nintendo, because I'd have that and my hybrid Switch anyway, regardless. Because that way I've got the option, and as long as I can play the games on both, it's fine.
Yeah, and that's the same with me. I think they might do I hope that they do a home, but if they do a Switch Pro, which is still hybrid but with pro features, you know, I'm a happy guy, man. I'll still buy it, I'll still play it. You know, I don't really have any complaints right now with Nintendo, so it's fine.
And for me, I don't think they're gonna, and honestly, I wouldn't want to see them do it, because right now the whole fact that they don't have that is kind of one of the things that's kind of urging me to get a Switch for myself, because I've got ones for like the family, nieces and nephews. But that's one of the things personally, because it's just like there's going to be 3 consoles in my house. Plus you add in the gaming laptop, it's going to be too much just connected to the TV. Like I have to pick the other one. I'll see the Switches when I'm traveling somewhere. I get to play it. And I don't want to compare more consoles games, if you know what I mean. I'm already like the Xbox, PlayStation wars is enough for me to handle in this life.
Yeah, they are. They're top on the list, man. Don't sleep on Nintendo.
Definitely.
No, but believe it or not, they actually are the number one right now. Believe it or not. I mean, we've just had next gen Microsoft and Sony, so that's where all the hype's been surrounded. But quietly, Nintendo's still been killing them. Trust me.
Oh, that's been it, man. It's man like Kiddo J signing out. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching.